New reporting on the 16th about Activision CEO Bobby Kotick and his complicity in the sexual misconduct allegations in the Activision Blizzard debacle. But the board stands behind him. He's going to be okay. He'll land on his feet. Ridiculous. Not so critical update.
This is a story that is close to my heart because I play World of Warcraft and I have been playing World of Warcraft for 16 years with a 12-year gap. Yeah, well, I'm playing it again now actively. In case you missed it, a few months ago there was a lawsuit launched by the California Department of Homes and something, I forget exactly the department name, but it was a government organization, a government department, that following a 2-year investigation into the working practices or working conditions at Activision Blizzard, they were launching a suit against them, alleging sexual misconduct and employee harm, and basically the whole kind of terrible kinds of things that we've been hearing about at Blizzard. And a lot of stuff has happened since that started. Partly there was an employee walkout at the beginning. There was completely tone-deaf response from the company initially. There was one of the executives, a woman who's been there for 6 months, tweeted, "Well, I haven't seen anything. I've been here, and so far I haven't experienced any of this kind of behavior, so it seems fine to me." The same woman, by the way, who worked for the Bush administration and said that the United States doesn't torture, and it was all based around the definition of the word torture. Anyway, and there was a slight kind of uptick recently where they actually said, no, that we're committed to improving the workplace. We're going to spend more money on hiring diverse workforce, and we're going to blah, blah, blah. And it took a couple of months for them to get to that point of hey, there's something wrong. A couple of months and massive share price drop, of course. Anyway, so the latest thing, which is what we're talking about now, is there's a guy called Bobby Kotick, who is the CEO of Activision Blizzard King, ABK. And I think it was Washington Post. Who was it who posted this? Did it say?
Wall Street Journal.
A news article.
Wall Street Journal.
Wall Street Journal, thank you, yeah. The Wall Street Journal did an article on the fact that he had been complicit. Here we go. He knew for years about all these sexual misconduct allegations, and he himself had been accused of some pretty terrible stuff. And a lot of people were going, well, this is the guy, by the way, excuse me for going on, but, like I said, this is quite close to my heart. This is the guy who got $130 million salary increase because his salary was tied to share performance. So, they did this article, and everyone was saying, oh, maybe it's finally time that he's going to get kicked out. And it wasn't, because the board looked at it and said, oh, no, we've examined the situation. We're fully confident that Bobby Kotick is the right man for the job, and we're all good.
So just to give a quick recap of the timeline here. In July 22nd, California sued Activision this is the result of the 2-year investigation by California's Department of Fair Employment and Housing. It's on the 22nd. On the 27th, there was an employee walkout, triggered by the suit, but obviously people had known this was going on all along. Multiple reports, known terrible culture problems. They had this cubicle crawl that they would do. A woman had committed suicide resulting from a relationship that she had with a supervisor. In August, the shareholder sued Activision Blizzard for withholding the harassment information. It was affecting the stock price.
Can I just start there for a second? But I find that utterly bizarre that the shareholders can sue a company. I own a company and I'm suing it. It's very hard to wrap my head around that.
Well, it goes to the profit motive. The company is obligated to disclose to its shareholders and investors anything that's going to affect the share price, which this did. And we talk about this all the time. Their fiduciary responsibility. They're obligated to tell people if they're going to lose the money. They didn't,
right.
So they get sued.
Right,
this is the thing that they're not being sued for the harassment. They're being sued for not disclosing that the harassment was going to affect their share price.
No, I get that. I get that.
Yeah, I wasn't saying it to educate you. I was just like part of my outrage.
It's okay, but there's so much to be outraged about. It's the kind of like concept of the company where the shareholders who own the company are suing themselves effectively because they're the people that are supposed to control the CEO and all that. It's just a weird situation.
And it exposes two things. So you mentioned his bonus. So one is that the people who own the company aren't the people who are running the company.
Yeah.
Which is a huge problem in itself. The other is that all anybody cares about, the owner and the investors, is the short term, show me profit month after month, quarter after quarter. We don't care about anything else as long as you can do that. Everything's fine.
Yeah. Sorry, listen, Mike. I feel bad. I interrupted your timeline. It's a very good timeline.
Okay,
please carry on. Sorry.
So the shareholder sued Activision Blizzard in August. Shortly after that, this is September 20th, SEC is investigating Activision Blizzard over workplace practice disclosures. And so the SEC investigation is related to the shareholder suit because the SEC needs to know if Activision violated its responsibility to the shareholders. I don't want to say they don't care about the harassment, but they care about the money. Then, by September 27th, they strike an $18 million settlement with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission over the harassment. This is about the harassment. Probably still going to come back to bite him in the ass with the shareholders. And then this report comes out on the 16th. Last week, by the time you're hearing this, probably because I accidentally deleted the episode the first time we talked about this story. Sorry about that. And then that's what prompted the statement from the board today that nope, he's our guy. He's been the CEO of Activision since 2006, 2008, something like that. And they say, we're with you.
Yeah, it's disgusting, isn't it? It's utterly disgusting, and there's just no excuse for this. This is I don't know what to say. It's bad in so many ways. So playing the game right, there's a lot of people who complain about how everything's been going downhill and how blah blah blah. But you hear this a lot. Like people like to moan about the games that and then they continue playing. Obviously, so people moan about a game and then they carry on playing it. But it's I don't know how to describe it. So it feels like they've gone from being a company that cared about creating good games to a company that just cares about money. And it's fine to care about money, but the reason that we all loved the game in the first place was because it was from someone who seemed to genuinely give a shit. And that is just not the case anymore.
No, and probably is going to continue to not be the case.
Yeah. I was talking to some friends about this, and we were trying to figure out why they would do this, because it feels so counterproductive. And I think it's because they've just got their heads in the sand. Like they just are trying to block it all out. La 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 la. And the last time we did the recording, we also talked about the fact that this has happened a lot before, like especially in particular with Ubisoft. There's a whole big movement about Ubisoft, and about the working conditions there and about the way that women were treated and minorities and the whole, just everybody. It was just the typical kind of bro gamer culture, which, you know, ugh. And the problem is that it was big news for a while at the time, which was 2018, I think it all sort of happened. And then it kind of did go away. We were hearing about it, and then we didn't hear about it. And so the strategy of sticking your head in the sand has sort of proven to work, which is horrible. So from a purely capitalist point of view, maybe that's what they should do. But I obviously don't agree with that. I think it's horrific.
So that leads to so many things. I mean, so I got in the U.S. it used to be the case that if a politician did something embarrassing, they resigned because they had shame and decency. Well, decency, that's
When
ridiculous.
was that?
They at least had shame. Now you just double down. There are no consequences. The other thing that comes to mind is I was listening to an interview. I'll have to find. We should probably do a whole episode just on this, but they were talking about how part of the problem with social media is saying something on social media has taken the place of activism. So if I just say on Twitter, this is terrible, it has to stop, then I feel like, oh, I did my part, I can go on with my life. Versus actually caring about it. I mean, not that you don't care about it, but taking action to boycott, protest, call and talk to somebody, register a complaint.
Yeah.
There's a lot of action that needs to be taken to make any kind of change, but social media has kind of emotionally almost like people feel like that's activism is going onto social media to say something, but it doesn't really change the behavior. So if people stop playing the game, what's that?
That's heavy. That's Yeah, no, seriously, that's a whole big discussion about social media, which I really hadn't actually considered that properly before. I think that's right, but I don't know. I think probably people still did something similar, but on a smaller scale. Signing the petition, okay, sending the subscription to the charity, or when you see the dying puppies on the advert, then you sign up for the $3 a month via premium rate SMS. Okay, I give to charity now. I'm my sins are washed away. So yeah, perhaps they don't even do that much anymore. Maybe that tiny.
Probably not. Yeah.
Actual, yeah.
And the other thing that comes into play is the idea of like not in my backyard, right? Like I'm against this, but I still want to play this game.
Yeah.
Right? So you're like, oh, this is terrible. It shouldn't happen. But if I play, that's not going to make any difference.
Yeah. I do want to give a shout out, by the way, to a Twitter account called A Better ABK, which these are the guys who are, current and ex-employees of Activision Blizzard King, who are fighting the good fight. And they're like he was saying, they're doing what they can to mobilize people, and I really wish them all the best. They are, do what you can to support them, send them some money, but it's tough. It's mostly just watching from afar to see. But yeah,
it's good to see.
Guys.
It's good to see them out there fighting. There's progress on this. There was outrage after the announcement by the board. We'll see if it makes any difference.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think it will at this point?
Well, as I said, as a player of World of Warcraft, I do feel like it's gonna lock down. So the example is, right, me and a friend, we do a particular part of the end game. We did it every Sunday. We had a couple of hours set aside just after lunch, and it was great. And for a few months, we played this. We played this. It's called Torghast, and we played it every week. And recently, we kind of finished it. We got all we could out of this particular thing, and so, but we still had the calendar at the time booked. So we met up. It wasn't last weekend, the weekend before, and logged on. And we're like, okay, well, listen, we finished Torgus. So what are we going to do? And there's two players who love the game, quite dedicated to World of Warcraft, and we've got lots of different characters, and we were struggling for something to do in the game, which is really bad for a game that you pay a $15 monthly subscription for, which should be it's not like a single player role-playing game, a single player RPG. It's supposed to have sort of endless content, or always have something to do, and we just were struggling to find anything to do. That's a terrible, terrible sign for a game like this. And I think
especially since it's supposed to be this like vast, immersive world. Like,
right.
What do we even do now?
Right.
We've done everything.
And we were just like, what? Yeah. So I think it could be the beginning of the end, but then again, people have been saying that for a long time. So
sure. Well, keep an eye on it.
All right.